Hello and welcome to Unleashed, the show that explores how to thrive as an independent professional. I'm your host, Will Bachman, and I'm excited to be here today with Tami Lucey, who is a travel agent. So, Tami, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Will. I'm excited to be here.
And we'll say right at the top here that you are actually not taking on new clients. So I understand that you are just already fully booked. And I thought it was, pretty interesting. A friend of our mutual friend, one of your clients, referred you to me and mentioned your name and said that you're not taking on new clients. And I thought it'd be really interesting to hear about life as a travel agent here in 2021. Tell us a little bit about your practice. You mentioned that you work with consultants and also with kind of entertainment, right?
Yeah, over the years, I've narrowed down my specialty. Travel agents have all gone to specialties. I've always stuck with the corporate world. So my business is focused on entertainment for large events, bringing in the bands, and then working with individual consultants. I have a couple of companies where their independent consultants go out, and that's been my focus for about the last 10 years.
Okay, so we all know that a lot of travel agents have kind of been disintermediated and had to choose other lines of work as more and more people just book their own travel. But tell me about but you are business is booming and you're not even taking on new clients. Tell us a little bit about the service you provide. So let's say if I were your client as a management consultant, independent consultant, how would we work together?
Yeah, so I have a whole process. First off, I get to know you very well. All your preferences, your likes, your dislikes. So I can really customize what I offer you. I don't want to waste your time, and I don't want to waste my time offering you things you don't want. So right off the bat, I get to know you very well. Um, then, as you need things like maybe you're putting together a proposal and you need some ideas of what travel is going to cost. One thing I do not do when I'm doing proposals, and I do a lot of them, you can look on the internet certainly and get an idea of what things cost. But what you don't see when you're putting together a proposal, you don't see there might only be one seat at $100. And then everything else jumps up to $300. So I typically, when I'm doing proposals and working that pre stuff, I look at what the mid level fares are, because I don't know if people realize every airplane offers at least 20 to 30 different fares, airfares. So it can be very complicated. Um, so once you know what you need and you're ready to book your travel, I always send out options based on your preferences, sometimes based on my preferences, because I do have airlines that I favor based on their customer service and based on your status. So once we get the flights figured out, then I go through and boom, boom, I book your car. You give me the address of where you're going. I find you a nice hotel, whether it be Marriott or Hilton's or whatever your preference is. This whole process can typically take, well, once you email me, I can get back to you in about 10 minutes.
Wow, that's super quick. I mean, that's a lot faster than I can do it myself, searching on Google Flights and so forth. Um, so, and is that because you have more advanced systems that just regular consumers on the internet don't have, or?
That is correct. And that's a great thing to bring up. So I do work on a professional, it's called a GDS system, global distribution system. It is an airline owned system.
Yeah, was that Sabre or one of those?
Sabre is owned by American. I work on Apollo, which is owned by United, and then there's a couple of others out there. Now, because I have direct access to the airline's database, I see things in a whole different way than you would see on Expedia. Um, Also, those internet sites, they're all airline owned and controlled. People don't realize that. Sabre owns, I think, Travelocity. Another one owns uh, Expedia. So they only show you what they want you to see.
And so then kind of just you will keep on file the kind of someone's loyalty numbers, their credit card, their logins, I suppose, to all the different airline sites and hotel sites.
Yeah.
And then you can make those bookings for people. So it sounds like there's an intake process where you just get to know someone, and then if they're planning a project where they're going to travel back and forth between Kansas and Tennessee every week for 6 months, you can help price that out. But then and also on an ongoing basis, if it's just a one-off trip, someone can email you, call you, text you, and you will take care of just putting together an itinerary that will work for them because you've got to know their preferences.
That is correct. Um, and a lot of people don't realize when you're working with these internet sites, they are considered third party sites. So let's say you booked a hotel on Expedia and at the last minute your meeting got canceled. You call up the hotel, explain the situation. They don't care because you booked it through a third party site. Travel agents are considered partners. And I can call up a hotel and say, I know it's 8 o'clock at night and you had a 4 p.m. cancellation policy, but here's the situation. And because we are partners with the hotels, they do quite a bit for us. It's maybe 1 out of 500 times a hotel will tell me, I'm sorry, we won't cancel the room.
Oh, well, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So you'll do those kind of bookings. And do you mind me asking what's the typical fee structure for how you work? Is it how do you structure your fees?
So every agency is different on how they structure their fees. Um, my fee is structured based on issuing airline tickets. So what people don't realize is the airlines used to pay travel agents commission, and they stopped paying us commission. And now we're not allowed to mark up the product. It's against the law for me to mark up an airline ticket. So when the airline stopped, they now kind of charge us in a way every month. So my fee is based on airline tickets at time of issue. Depending on the volume of your company, my average fee is about $45 per ticket. But I do not charge things for hotel only bookings or car only bookings. Those companies, cruise lines, hotels, cars, tour companies, they all still pay travel agent commissions. So we really rely on that hotel and car bookings to kind of offset our low service fees.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of the bigger agencies, they nickel and dime you to death with their service fees. If you want to book a flight, it's $45. If you add a hotel, it's another $10. If you add a car, it's another $5. Because I'm a small independent agent, I can keep my costs down to only have to charge for the airline tickets.
Okay. So, and then when you book hotels, and very reasonably get paid on that by the hotel, are you typically getting a price that would be as good as a consumer could get by going to the hotel's website and looking for, if you just go to, Marriott and find a Sheraton or Westin, and they often have like lowest rate for your, loyalty range or whatever. Are you able to get rates that are equivalent to that for the consumer?
Yes, I am. And typically, because my agency is based on, I have a host agency. You can't just become a travel agent. You have to have a travel agency processing all your things. Um, so, what I see in my GDS is exactly what you will see on Marriott's website. Now, I do get some additional discounts because of the consortiums that we belong to. So, and then, so for some of my companies that have repeat business to one area all the time, I actually call and I negotiate rates with the hotels to get you even better discounts.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So,
Um,
all right. So this is interesting. I had not until I talked to Pete the other day, and he mentioned that he worked with you. I had not really thought about getting a travel agent myself. Maybe I looked into it once, I don't know, 10 years ago or something, and it was pretty expensive. Maybe it was one of the bigger agencies. But what you're talking about, $45 to take care of like the flight and the hotel and the car rental and stuff. I mean, that'll take me probably 45 minutes to an hour when I'm sitting there going to some new location trying to sort out, okay, like like let's look at all these different hotels and try to pick one, and let's look at all the different flight options and think about it and go to the car rental and book it on Hertz and all that. I mean, that's 45 minutes at least, of thinking about it. And and that time savings is certainly worth, your fee of $45.
well, and that fee also includes support while you're traveling. So I'm pretty much available 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Because when my corporate guys are traveling and they've got those last minute changes, or they're running late to the airport, or something's come up, travel never waits. It can't wait till the next day sometimes. So that $45 fee pretty much gets you on demand service, is what I like to call it. And I do get calls in the middle of the night. I will get up and answer my phone and deal with the situation. Um, that's the biggest support travel agents like me give you.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the bigger travel agencies, they use services, after hours services, to assist their clients, but they're expensive and you're not getting your agent. I know that you're flying out tomorrow. I know you're on Delta. I know it's critical that we get something done tonight, not wait until tomorrow. So that's also part of the fee.
Okay. Now, what has happened kind of broadly with travel agents? So, I and this is sort of my understanding, sort of correct or adjust my understanding. So my sort of guess would be that it used to be that there was a lot, and then as people started being able to book their own and so forth, it just went really down quite dramatically. But perhaps now it's sort of stabilized where people are either sort of companies like a McKinsey or a Bain or a consulting firm will still have travel departments, and there's maybe just this sort of stable number of travel agents that might specialize in sort of luxury travel or other specialty travel, like helping an orchestra move, or like you helping a band move around. Is it relatively kind of stabilized now, in that there's a lower than before, but there's some people that are still doing this, and it's or is it on the increase, or is it still declining? What would you tell us?
That's kind of a hard question. So the little mom and pop agencies, a lot of them did close down about 10 years ago. Some of the others merged and became bigger and bigger and bigger. And then there are quite a few agents out there like me that went and joined a host agency as an independent agent.
And what does that mean to join a host agency as an independent
So,
agent?
so you can't just say one day I'm going to be a travel agent and start issuing airline tickets and booking hotels and making commission. There's a process to all of that. And only an authorized travel agency can issue airline tickets or collect hotel commission. So it's quite complicated actually to open up a travel agency. A lot of logistics to it. So people like me, and my agency is based out of Colorado, and they have about 150 independent consultants that use their travel agency as our base. So now over the years, I've seen nothing but growth.
Is that right?
Yes. People thought I was crazy when I stuck with corporate, even during the recession. I stuck it out. That's my passion. And it finally got to the point, even a few years ago, I had to let go a couple of accounts. I got too big, too quick. And I do not advertise. All of my business comes from referrals.
What typically have you seen corporations doing? Have some of them kind of given their employees just more freedom to book their own travel over time, or do a lot of them still have corporate travel departments that take care of it? Have they outsourced it? What sort of things have you seen in the kind of corporate travel arena?
Yeah, so this is the part of the new wave going on. It's been going on for at least 10 years, not longer than that, 20 years. These agencies can go into a larger corporation or a smaller corporation and set them up with their own system, and then they can book themselves through the travel agency. But I am seeing the larger corporations, they still use a travel agency. They need that control. Travel agencies can set up all kinds of parameters based on the company's requirements. Some companies, let's say, a connection flight saves $400 versus a nonstop. Some companies will mandate, if it saves so much money, you have to go on the connection, or your budget is only this much. So they do still rely on the travel agencies to monitor that and control it. The smaller corporate age companies, not so much. They kind of let their people do their own thing. Some use a travel agency, some don't. Some don't like giving up that control. Some people just love the internet and they trust the internet. So that's one thing I always like to make people understand. Don't trust the internet. It's it's showing you what it wants you to see. One big example is Southwest Airlines. There's many, many search engines that will not show you Southwest Airlines.
Tell us a little bit about, you're fully booked. You're not taking on new clients, but tell us, if a listener says, "Wow, I hadn't thought of it, but actually maybe it makes sense to get myself a travel agent." What's your recommendation on how to go and find a travel agent?
The best way is to ask friends and family and other business associates. The next best way, and I'm a true believer in looking for independent agents like me because I really get to know my clients. When you're working with a company like American Express, you never get the same agent twice. They don't know who you are. They don't understand your needs. It's a very long process. The Travel Society out of Denver, Colorado, who I use as my host agency, They have about 150 independent agents that all specialize in different areas. And that's the second place I would go to look for a new agent, is with a host agency. I tend to stay away from the big agencies.
Okay. Do you also handle more kind of leisure travel for your clients if they want to take a safari in Africa, or if they want to go on a tour of temples in Japan or something? Do you handle that kind of work?
I do not. I do not handle any of that kind of travel, only because it's really not my thing. I've always focused towards corporate and entertainment because I love the fast pace of it. I love it changes every minute. 1 minute I'm going here, and the next minute, oops, I need to be here instead. I like that. Not all agents do. But there are plenty of agents at the Travel Society that have gone that route.
Okay. So if you're looking for a travel agent, it's really specialized. You want to find someone who has your kind of focus. Tell us a little bit about your entertainment work. So just say more about that.
Yeah, so I started with TV production companies. And as I was referred around from place to place, people talk about me on planes, and um, I somehow ended up in the entertainment world, which I love. I love working with the musicians. I take very good care of my musicians. It's it's not it's a very fast pace, which I like.
And when you say musicians, you're organizing travel for not just like one singer, but like what would it be the band plus all the production people? Like how many people are we talking would be in the group that would be moving around?
Yeah, so I'm working on one right now that's coming into Florida to do. Actually, they're shooting a virtual event, and this is the new thing right now for entertainment. They're coming to a studio. So we will have dancers, we'll have the musicians. Sometimes they'll bring a juggler. Sometimes we did a big event at one of the hotels here in Florida not too long ago. They brought in swimmers, synchronized swimming, rollerbladers. It's crazy the entertainment that comes in. We did one event where they brought in a camel and the camel trainer. So it's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of very different entertainment out there nowadays.
How do you book travel for a camel?
Well, luckily that camel was local. So, but the funny thing is so the entertainment company I work with, they have their own seamstress and wardrobe people, and they make custom outfits for their dancers and their musicians. They made the camel its own custom outfit. One of my favorite stories is the outfit for the camel.
That's awesome. So, and when you're doing these large groups, it's not necessarily all people going just from point A to point B. It may be you're organizing travel for, sounds like multiple, could be more than 10 people from multiple different locations to, to a given event where they're going to perform.
Yes, yes. My people come in from all over the country. Sometimes they'll bring in entertainers from Europe. It's never the same. It's always something different. And not all my bands, like not all their band members, live in the same city. I've got a couple of bands where the band members are split up around the country. So a lot of logistics, trying to get people to arrive together so that we can cut down on cost. Things like transportation, car rentals, vans. That gets expensive when you have to rent 5 of them for. So it's a lot of logistics of trying to save money
I'm curious, what sort of tools do you have, sort of, software do you use to, it's one thing if you're just just flying Will Bachman from New York City to Kansas City or something. But if you're, have like all these multiple people flying in different things, are you using like Excel or a Google Sheet, or is there some more sophisticated solutions that you use to kind of keep track of all the details of all the itineraries with the timeline and all that?
Yeah, we actually use a Google Doc, a shared Google Doc, so that the logistics people can see exactly what I'm doing. I can see what they're doing. It's a great communication tool. I really love Google Docs.
Talk to me about COVID and what you've seen with travel during COVID and any current trends.
Yeah, so COVID's been tricky. Um, Corporate and entertainment obviously completely shut down for the last year. I saw, I'm starting to see things building up. I think people are getting a little more confident in with the vaccines coming out and the numbers are going down. So things are really picking up quickly. But what I'm seeing, the trend is that people are staying local. I Right now I wouldn't advise anybody to leave the country. I actually have a guy that is stuck in Cuba right now. He went down to visit family. The airlines the other day decided they're just canceling all of their service for the month of March. So this guy is now stuck down there for another month. Um, Working with the airlines has been pretty seamless. They've got good protocols down. I traveled quite a bit up through September, and just seeing how the airlines were handling things, and um, people are starting to finally feel a little more comfortable traveling. Planes were empty while I was traveling all of last year. Now they're filling up.
Are you seeing your entertainment, your bands and musicians and so forth, starting to book events maybe later in the year, like things booking up for the summer or the fall?
Yes, so a lot of my events, a lot of my May and June events are still canceling and rebooking into September and October. I really think by September and October, things are really going to be kind of back to normal-ish. Um, Still going to take a little while, but consultants and corporate people, they need to travel. You can only do so much by phone or by Zoom, and you need that one-on-one with your clientele. So I'm gearing up for a very, very busy, just I just need to get through summer, and I really think things are just going to boom. I'm already seeing the boom just based on the new bookings that are coming in for my events right now. But I'll tell you, now's a great time to travel if you're willing, because airfares are dirt cheap and hotels are incredibly low right now. So even if you travel locally, it's a great time.
And with your consultants who are clients of yours, are you seeing folks who perhaps were not traveling at all last year? Are they starting to get on planes?
Yes, now you have one consulting company, and if they don't travel, they're not really making a living. But no, their business in the last 3 weeks has it's picked up very quickly. I haven't done any travel for this one company for a year, and all of a sudden I've got 5 of their consultants out on the road all of a sudden.
Fantastic. You mentioned a couple times the host agency that you work with. Could you say their name again and share any kind of website, or if someone wanted to follow up to ask and help find an independent travel agent that's affiliated with them, how could
Yeah.
they do that?
Um, their website is their name, The Travel Society, and they are based out of Denver, Colorado. And they've been a host agency, I want to say 25, 30 years now. I've been with them for almost 20 years. Um, Very well known in the industry, very reputable. There are a lot of agents out there that call themselves independent agents, but they are not true travel agents. They are these pyramid schemes going on, and they just hire anybody off the street and call them a travel agent. So you got to be careful when you're looking, but Travel Society vets all of their people. You have to come in with a travel agency background.
Mm.
So they're very selective, and they have a wide range of agents and what they all specialize in. So the Travel Society has been a wonderful agency to work with.
Fantastic. Well, Tammy, thank you for helping educate me, giving me a new perspective on travel agents. I'm going to have to look into this for myself. And it sounds like for independent consultants, if you're on the road a lot and spending a lot of your time booking travel or rebooking travel, you might want to think about
Yes.
it. Sounds like a pretty affordable solution and free up some of your time. Tammy, thank you for joining us today. And listeners, if you go to umbrex.com and click on the Unleash tab, you can sign up for the weekly email and get notified of all the episodes. We're a daily show now, so you might, even if you're not listening to every episode, the weekly email will tell you what's out there, so you can pick and choose. And if you are so inclined to give the show a 5-star review on iTunes, it does help people discover the show, and it just makes me feel great. So, Tammy, thanks for joining.
Thank you, Will. It's been wonderful.